Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
In the realm of sports, like Kevin Garnett just stated, anything is possible. An 8th-seeded team can knock out the 1st seed. A number 1 pick in the draft could play worse than undrafted players. And heck, even a 73-win team could lose in the finals after being up 3-1. Unpredictability. It's part of why we as fans love the game. And thus, every one of our takes can be just as good as the guy next to us. I mean, just ask Stephen A. Smith, the face of ESPN, who once got 6 finals predictions wrong in a row. I did the math really quick, and the man had a 1.56% chance to get 6 consecutive 50-50 calls wrong. But he did it on live television with a straight face. Holy sheesh, guys. Today, I want to go over some of your 2023 hot takes that I found online. Starting with the first one here. Kevin Durant won't win a chip unless he's in a Warriors jersey. All right, so as of today, KD is still part of the Brooklyn Nets. There are trade rumors of him linking with other teams, but honestly, the Nets are asking for a king's ransom. And because Durant is turning 34 at the start of the season and has a recent history of injuries, I think he'll be suiting up in a Nets uniform when the season starts. So come late October, the Nets lineup is going to consist of KD, Ben Simmons, and most likely Kyrie Irving. Sheesh, guys. I just realized that Steve Nash is going to have his hands full trying to handle all 3 of these big personalities at the same time. Anyway, honestly, that's a pretty talented big 3, but they do have one fundamental flaw: ego. I mean, Kyrie doesn't think they need a coach, Ben Simmons won't play if his teammates hurt his feelings, and Kevin Durant, well, he already wants out. Over the course of 82 games, they may win a ton of games through sheer talent, but because of their personalities, the team won't be connected. Goran Dragic said it perfectly after their season ended when he stated, "I played with some stars like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and I have to admit that it was quite difficult because the focus was not the team, but more the individual performances of the individuals." When the 2023 playoffs come around, they'll get exposed by organizations that play great together as a team, and that's exactly what happened in 2022 when they got swept by the Celtics. Kevin Durant won't win a chip unless he's in a Warriors uniform. Good take. Our next take for today is, whoever pays Jalen Brunson is going to regret it. Well, as of today, someone already paid him. The New York Knicks recently signed Brunson to a 4-year, $104 million contract. Now, I like Brunson. He's a solid point guard, averaged about 16 points and 5 assists while shooting 50% from the floor, 37% from three-point range, and 84% at the free throw line. But let's get real here for a second. He's not good enough to be the number 1 option for a team. And as we just saw from the 2022 playoffs, even if he was the number 2 option with a superstar leading the way, it still wouldn't be enough to truly contend for a championship. And yet, the New York Knicks just made him their highest paid player. New York Knicks fans must be punching the air right now. With Brunson added to the roster, the Knicks are going to be a better team. Instead of being the 11th seed, they'll perhaps be good enough to be the 10th seed and get eliminated in the play-in tournament. That's a tough outlook, but that's just what I see. It's a 4-year contract, and again, nothing against Brunson. I think he's a solid player and a great guy, but the New York Knicks just signed their way to mediocrity for the foreseeable future. The New York Knicks are going to regret signing Jalen Brunson. Next off here, we have a hot take about James Harden. It goes, injury or not, Harden has always sucked in the playoffs. Sheesh, guys. Some people really hate on Harden. Anyway, as of today, Harden has had 13 playoff appearances and 0 rings. So it could be easy to say that he's always been a dud in the postseason. But let's take a look at the facts. Although he's had his fair share of playoff blunders, in 2015, the Rockets were up against the Clippers, and in Game 7, Harden scored 31 points to seal the series for Houston. Then in 2018, James Harden led the Houston Rockets to a 3-2 lead against one of the greatest teams in NBA history. And if Chris Paul didn't get that hamstring injury in Game 5, then there's a good chance he would have won a championship that season, and we wouldn't even be talking about this here today. In the 2023 playoffs, I believe we're going to see a motivated James Harden, and along with Joel Embiid, they're going to lead the 76ers to the NBA Finals. Next off, we have a take that says Russell Westbrook will have a monster season and the Lakers will be back in the playoffs, but they won't win it all. Well, if Russell does stay with the Lakers, I'd probably agree with this one. In 2022, Russell clearly wasn't ready for LA. I mean, for the first time in his career, he was the third option. That affected his game a ton. And then, with every mistake he made, Lakers fans poured the criticisms on him. I mean, check this out. If Russell does decide to stay in LA to play another season with LeBron and AD, he's going to play a lot better. He has to save his legacy, to save his name. I mean, can you imagine the outrage in Laker Nation if he repeats what he just did in 2022?
They were the only team last year. Look at this pass. Here, back in Southern California. Why not? That one.
Yikes, guys. I don't even want to start imagining all the hateful energy that fans will send his way if that happens. Next off, we have the take that if the Suns re-sign Ayton, there's no reason they can't get back to the Western Conference Finals or more. Well, the Suns just re-signed Ayton, and anything can happen in the realm of sports, I guess. But with their best player in Chris Paul turning 38, and the whole league knowing his weakness on defense at this point in his career, I think the Suns will be lucky to escape out of the first round, and there'll be a second-round exit at best. I mean, just look at the Western Conference for next season. You have the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, Nuggets, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Grizzlies. All these teams will likely end up with a playoff spot or be in the play-in tournament. And if the Suns run into any of these teams, I see them getting into trouble. So yeah, I don't see them in the Western Conference Finals in 2023. The sun has already set. Next off, we have a take about the Sacramento Kings. And it goes like, the Kings will shock everyone and squeeze through the play-in tournament and into the playoffs. They look like they have a decent roster with De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, Malik Monk, Rashawn Holmes, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell, and some other guys, but I'm going to side with history. They missed the playoffs 16 years in a row, and if I were a betting man, I'd say they'll miss the 2023 playoffs too. Anyway, next off, we have a take on Anthony Davis. It goes, Anthony Davis is not a top 10 player in the league, and people need to stop saying he is. This is a tough take considering his resume. I mean, a champion in 2020, a 4-time All-NBA first-team selection, a 4-time All-Defensive Team selection, an 8-time All-Star, and he's in the middle of his prime at age 29. Well, the biggest question surrounding Anthony Davis is his health and his mindset. If he can stay healthy, and if he stays aggressive, he can easily play like a top 10 player. But honestly, he's never been healthy since he's won his championship in the bubble, and on top of that, he doesn't seem to be as motivated to play basketball. I mean, in June, reports came out saying he hasn't shot a basketball in months, and on top of that, for the 2022 season, his three-point percentage was 18.6. 18.6. That's literally lower than the worst league average in the history of the NBA. Anyways, I'd agree with the take. He's not in the top 10, but I'd put him right outside of it. Last off, we have a take on the Memphis Grizzlies. It goes like this. The Grizzlies will get the 1 seed, Ja wins MVP and scoring title, they get eliminated in the second round. All right, here's my take on this one. They were the 2nd seed last season, so grabbing the 1st seed isn't completely out of the question. Ja was 7th in MVP voting last season, so if he ups his scoring and wins the scoring title and leads the Grizzlies to the 1st seed, he does have a pretty good chance of winning MVP in my opinion. Now, here's where I disagree. The Grizzlies aren't going to get eliminated in the second round because, well, they're going to get eliminated in the first round.